Hello, all my lovely edge dwellers. I am live. It's Ask Lucca Live. I'm Lucca Hallex, Power Sorcerer, and today is May the 9th. I believe it's the 9th. Maybe I should check that before I say that. Yes, it's May the 9th, and this is episode 8. That means this is the 8th time I've been out here in the interwebs doing my channeling. So hi, Crystal. Nice to see you here. Scott's here. Hi, Scott. I feel like when I was a kid, they used to have a show called Romper Room, and the woman who ran it would look through her badminton racket or tennis racket or whatever it was, and it would swirl, and she would say hello to all the children in the class, and anybody else out there in the world who had the same name would go, woo. So hi. Chantel's here from, now Chantel, I don't know if you're back here again in Vancouver or if you're still in Toronto. But wherever you are, it's lovely to have you here. So I'm looking down at the bottom of the screen because that's where all the names are popping up. So I'm here a few minutes early, so I'm just going to hold space here for everybody to arrive, who's going to arrive. Hi, Paula. Chantel's still in Toronto. Well, hi, I hear that Ontario is getting some cold weather right now, and we're sitting in spring. Hi, Nina. Yeah, this is feeling like summer, almost summer here. But it hasn't been. This is wonderful. I'm really enjoying this weather. Fiona, hi. And Flora's come. Hi, Flora. Nice to have you here with your confusing name on screen, but I know to look for it now, which is great. All right, this is good. So we got just one more minute left, and then we'll get ourselves underway. Angelica, nice to see you. I've got your question. I think we have 5 questions today. Some of them may expand a little bit. We may have time for a few from the gallery here. So we'll see how the timing goes on this. Who else have we got arriving here? We've got people who know one another. I love that when the community knows other people in the community. It's wonderful. And I have, this week I have a ring light, but I'm not using it yet. I have to figure out how to set it up. It's still too fresh. So I have to do some experimenting. So you may see some experimental lives out there over the next week or so while I practice with this. Okay, Scott's got a question there. Will my podcast be successful, and will I find true love? Yeah, we all want to know about the true love question, right? Yeah, so if I can't read this anymore when we get to the end of the questions I already have, Scott, feel free to cut and paste that back in again. So I'll ask at the end if we've got extra time. Then, and I think we probably will today. So that's, yeah, woohoo experiments. Yeah, I'm experimenting with radio stuff now too. Scott's one of the people I know from doing, from working at CJSF up at SFU, doing at the radio station there. And Scott has a show, and I have a show that I co-host with Rebecca. So we're all experimenting right now because we can't get into the studio. So we're having to learn how to do all of this from home with our computer equipment and string and sealing wax and elastic bands and stuff like that. Okay, so I think we're ready to go. What I say to everybody at the beginning of these sessions, always, 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 is your gut feel about what's right for you is more important than anything anybody can tell you, including me. Hi, Jen and Teddy. So never give your power away to anybody else. Nobody knows you better than you know you. And my intention today, as always, on these, I always say it again at the beginning, is to answer the asked and the intended questions, because sometimes we get the answers we need, not the answers we asked for. But the asked and intended questions, and receive answers that are soulfully helpful to all of you present here today and all of you who are listening after the fact, because I know that not everybody on a busy Saturday can get here at 1:30 in the afternoon Pacific time. Some of you are listening from other parts of the world, so like Chantel, you're in a different time zone. Also, I have in the announcements part, I think I've pinned it to the top of the group, are the things to keep in mind as I do a reading, because I don't have time to go through them all the way I would in a reading circle. and explain them all, but they're all there. Things that you should pay attention to, like about time and space aren't what we think they are, and that kind of stuff. And I have more stuff about this in my blogs and on my website. And you can always get in touch with me between sessions. So that's I think that's what we need to get started today. I'm going to be looking off out the window, close my eyes, and that's because the information comes through to me in packets, just like information comes across the internet. So I go and fetch it, and I bring it back, and I unpack it, and then I go and fetch some more. And you'll also see me doing this and this. That's because my body acts as a pendulum. And when I say, should I say it this way or should I say it this way, I get yeses and nos, and that's how they come through. The weird twitches in my body. So you'll see that as well. So we're here for half an hour, and I'm just going to pull up my first question for today. First question was from Ruby. She said, I wanted to ask about my partner's small cough and sinus issues. So here, this is a health question. I have to say that I never know what I'm going to get when I answer a health question. And also don't throw your doctor out the window because of what I tell you. This is often the information that comes through around health issues has to do with patterns that are repeating themselves in your life and what may be underlying issues, emotional or energetic or other lifetimes or whatever that have to do with whatever the health issue is. So you still need to deal with it in here and now, and sometimes a doctor is appropriate for that, and so don't replace your doctor with me is what I'm saying. Augment it. Okay, so she wants to know about his cough and sinus issues. Happens frequently throughout the day. Also wakes up with a clogged nose and always needs a tissue. Is on a low-grade antibiotic, yet could only see the doctor online. And we're a lot of us in this position right now. You don't want to risk your health by going to the clinic or the hospital or the doctor's office. Okay, so let's see what we get. And Ruby's not here today, so I can't ask for his name. So we'll have to get him just through Ruby. And I think she might even be with him this afternoon. So I'm going to come back to it at the end because there's nothing that's immediately coming to me. Angelica says, I have a question about moving. Are my family and I ready to move to a different community? Is it east, west, north, south? How far? Where's the best fit? Or is it a matter of changing workplace for me? So, Angelica, let's see what we've got here for you. Okay, we've got your energy here. It is about work, but not only about work. There's 5 things in this picture for you, and one of them is work. One of them is a community that you're meant to be, they're saying enrolled in, but I don't mean that. I don't think they mean that. No, they don't mean that in the sense of taking a course or something, but it's an intentional participation in a community, and the community isn't quite ready for you yet, which means that the place that you will live in isn't quite ready for you yet either. So if you try to push on this, even though you know it's coming, if you try to push on this, it's going to get gnarly. The gnarly is the best word to use. So you can't go and look for this right now. So the east, west, north, south doesn't really apply right now. The best fit you're going to know. So 5 issues. One's work. One is the community that you're going to be participating in. One of them is the home that you're going to move into. There's somebody here where you are at the moment who still needs you. So that's another component. You won't go anywhere until that need, because you have a soul commitment in that space, and you don't want to give that up. It's not like this is this is just annoying. We have these. We sign what I call soul contracts with people. And I'm going like this over my heart because they're heartfelt. These are people you know over many lifetimes. And We make commitments to them, and sometimes it's a 5-minute meeting in an airport, and sometimes it's years of our lives. Sometimes it's friendships over a whole lifetime. So that's you've got one of those, Angelica. So you don't want to give up on that one. I have a feeling that somebody in your family right now isn't ready to go. There's some finishing up there with not a soul contract, but there's something still to be learned here that hasn't been learned yet. Not because they're dragging their feet, but just because the opportunity hasn't been right. So so that's another piece. So I don't know if I'm up to 5 yet. No, there's one more. The one more has to do with the planets all being lined up. So they have to be in the right place because it'll make your move go much smoother. You can move without that, but it will get gnarly. You're more likely to lose things and have stuff damaged and have things fall through, and you don't want that. So that's what there's a whole bunch of things going on. So this is why it feels so complicated for you right now. So I hope that helps you. Desiree wants to know, I'm looking for guidance on my next move. Where am I going? So a lot of us are feeling this right now, and what they're telling me is that this has to do with the shift. We're going through a massive planetary shift right now, and just like when a community shifts, all the individual members of a community have to shift also. And so the same thing is happening worldwide. So a lot of the shifts that are really big, all of the all the constituencies have to be ready to move at around the same time. And somebody always goes first. So in this case, China went first. And then other countries followed in behind. But it isn't just about the virus. It's about what has to shift as a result of the virus. And not everybody's ready. So when we come back to your question, Desiree, your next move, not everybody's ready yet. And that's true for Angelica as well. So where are you going? It feels like, and I sigh because it's one of those two-part answers. It feels like south. It feels like there's going to be a trip south. Maybe you think it's permanent, but it won't be. It'll come, then you'll go back up again, and then you'll come back, but not to exactly the same place. So there's going to be what looks like a false start, but don't get scared when it ends, and you'll forget this because you can't go into it thinking that it's going to end. So you'll do with good faith whatever it is that you have to do, and then there'll be a little period where there'll be some more slipping around, and then you'll make another move, and that other move is going to make the difference for you. We often do this. You'll see it with children when they're going to learn to walk. They get up and take a couple of steps, and then you think, oh, they're walking now, and then they don't. They don't do anything for ages, and then they just get up and walk, like they never did it before, or like they've always been doing it. Well, we do the same thing. It's like we do a little dry run at it, and then we settle, and then we go forth with more assertion, more confidence. The whole thing moves better. So that's your answer, Desiree. Lee wants to know. She said I have a month and a half to complete my practicum. So Lee's doing a practicum in feel. It's called. It's the feline, not feline. It has to do with horses. It's horse therapy, and I can never remember what the feel stands for. But Lee's completing it. I'm finding it hard to be inspired to get started on the completion parts, I guess. I love this program. It fits nicely, and the work with the horses, and it helps people feel better. It does, because I've gone and done it with you. I know it does. I have obstacles throughout my life to get inspired to do most things, except eat. And we all have some things that are easy to do, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with food, but we always have some things that are really easy to do, and other things that are more difficult. With this one, it isn't just you. You need to go out and talk to the horses about this, because there's something that's getting in the way with one of the horses, and also with your dog. So, and I think I was reading back through my notes from the session I did with you, and I think your dog's name is Clooney. Clooney's got some, you need to talk to Clooney too. So you need to consult with all the animals on your property is basically what I'm saying. Because there's something that needs to move out of the way here, because you're all making a commitment, because I was very aware of that when I was there. It isn't just you and the horses that are working with the client. It's all of the animals on the property, including the ones that you don't have under your control, because we saw a pair of eagles. There were animals around. So this is, you got to go in and consult with them. We always think that if something isn't going right or we're dragging our feet, that it's our fault. Like it's immediately mea culpa, right? I must be doing something wrong. And what they're saying to you, Lee, is that this one is not just you. It's about all of you interacting together. So that's the insight. Once you've gone out and had a talk with them, then see if this feels better. You're in the home stretch, and you're definitely meant to be doing this. But equine therapy is not just, that's the word I was looking for, equine, is not just about the horses. Horses are part of an ecosystem, including human beings. So check with all of that. Okay, so that's, I'm going to go back to my original question here with Ruby. Have I got a better answer? That's interesting, because this is my 8th time doing this, and I have not had one yet where I don't have an answer. I suspect, Ruby, that he needs to come to me directly. I think this can't go through you. And so, by all means, invite him to participate next week, and get him to phrase his question in his own way, because part of getting the answer is phrasing the question. So I said, sometimes I get information about people's partners and sometimes not. This one, I think he's got to be present. So let's come back to the questions, because I've gone through all the questions that I got ahead of time this time. So Scott, you had a question. If you want to pop it back in the queue here for me, then I will. I remember it was about podcasting, but if you could stick it back in the queue, I'll have a look. And if any of the rest of you have a question that you'd like me to answer, we've got another 15 minutes left, and I'd be more than happy to take questions from the floor at the moment. So let's see what comes. Scott says sure, so he's about. You're going to have to go either rephrase it or go find it in the queue and cut and paste it. So hi Adina, hi Donna, both here today, so this is great. Is there anything, before I get to Scott's question, is there anything that I can tell you that's... So here's Scott's question. I've recently released a new science fiction podcast called Please Save the Space Bees. Okay. Will it be successful? Yes, in a cult fashion. So you're going to have, Jen got your question. I'll come back to it in just a second. It will be, and will you find love? Yes. This is going to have its niche. So just keep doing it. Keep doing it and it will find its niche. And also, they're saying to me, talk about it everywhere, because you never know when or where you're going to find your niche person, the person who's going to come and follow you, and they're not always the people you would think. Sometimes it's the buttoned-up business suit people that are going to come and follow, and you had no idea. So keep doing it. Yes, it will be successful in its own way, in its own niche, and talk about it a lot. In terms of your love life, always reminds me of that commercial when I was a kid, and they said, how's your love life? You've got a little bit more time to go yet. Keep sampling. It's like bees have to keep bumbling from flower to flower before you find the right one. So you can't say, oh, the right flower isn't blooming yet, so I'm not going to go out there and bumble. You still have to be emotionally feeding yourself. So keep emotionally feeding yourself, and the right person, I think you have an appointment with this person, and I don't think it's like, well, if it isn't this one, it'll be another one. I think you're going to fall for this person, hook, line, and sinker, and them for you, although I think you'll go first. You'll feel it first, but it isn't quite yet. So it's interesting that we're talking about space bees, because you may have to, it might be to do with your space bees. So, and also keep doing all the things that are creative that you really, really love to do, because that's going to feed you, and what feeds you will feed the relationship when it finally comes. So, yes, so that's your true love piece. All right, so now I'm going to, Jen, you're next. Advice and info on nutrition, supplements, etc. to support my menopausal transition. Love some more balanced energy, please. And I'm just trying to get the rest of that message to come up, and I can't. Whoops, it's not bringing up the rest of the message. But anyway, nutrition. Nutrition has, what they're saying to me is that when you eat, in order to take the nutrition from the food, you have to be emotionally nourished. So I remember when I was homesick, I was 18 and I left home, and I was so homesick. I couldn't eat anything. And what I did eat, it wasn't doing me any good, because I was forcing myself to eat. So you got to be in a good emotional space, even if it's just before a meal, to take a moment of gratitude, or of grounding, or centering, or whatever it is, or putting some nice music on, or something that makes you in a receptive place for nourishment, period, whether it's food or not. So that's what they're saying about nutrition and supplements. And also you can muscle test. I'm sure you're aware of all this energy stuff, so you may be doing that already. This to support your menopausal transition. It is a natural transition like the one we're going through on the planet right now, which doesn't mean that your body doesn't have to adjust, but it's also putting yourself in a good place for your body to adjust in that way. And knowing that what comes in the next phase of your life is good. When fear gets into the transitions in our lives, whether it's transitioning into menses or out of it at the other end, it has to do with, are we afraid, or are we confident that life will hold us, and that we're in a good space, and that we can do what we would like to do, that the people are there in our community to support and hold us. So this is really about creating community for yourself, and the supplements will help that. They will do more good when you're feeling held. So this is about the reaching out, and in particular reaching out to other people who are in the same place as you, or a little bit ahead of you on that same track. So that's what they've got for you at the moment. Crystal, I'm feeling that past life experiences are making me doubt that I should pursue my purpose. Should I keep powering? And all I can see here is powering. And for whatever reason, when I tap the see more, I don't see more. So, so let me see if I can intuit what you need here, Crystal. So your purpose in life, Crystal, may not be exactly what you think your purpose in life is. So start by assuming that the higher part of you knows what your purpose is. And then trust that that will unfold in front of you every day. So it's your purpose. Your purpose is not necessarily one that you can write down and recite each day. It's more mercurial than that. It moves and slithers and jumps and hops and skips, and so so keep pursuing what's in alignment, what feels good each day, and that will be in alignment with your purpose. Your purpose is going to become clearer to you. I'm looking up because they're telling me. There are some things that need to be in alignment, and I think it could be planetary. They don't usually talk that much about planetary stuff, but they are today. There's some planetary stuff that needs to line up for you, and then your purpose is going to become much clearer. But assume that in the meantime, that if you don't know it here, that you do know it here, and that the knowing in your heart comes from your higher knowing, and you should be okay with that. So yes, keep powering along as long as it feels good. If it doesn't feel good, if you get up one morning and it doesn't feel good, then unless you're, well, I was going to say unless you're letting a whole bunch of people down, but sometimes you have to let people down if you know in your gut that that's what you're supposed to be doing. So be to thine own self be true, right? So stay in alignment with yourself when you're making those particular choices. So I think that's what we've got for you today, Crystal. Chantel, I'm enjoying quarantine life and feel blessed for this time to focus on myself. At the same time, because I have, and I can't see the rest of that message. So if you can pop it in again, Chantel, then I will answer the rest of it, because I've got the preamble but not the question. Zoe wants to know, sticking to the theme, I'm also wondering about where to go next. Time isn't right yet. You know you're going. When it's time, you're going to know exactly. They're showing me a pin in a map. They're saying you've already put a pin in a map. So you know where it is you're supposed to be going, but it isn't the right time yet. So when it's time, you're going to know. And I think you've got 3 pins in the map, but it's going to be one of them. So I think that's going to be helpful for you. Work and where to live, yes. And they come together. They're going to come as a package, work and where to live. Consecutively, not concurrently. So you may get one before the other, but they paired, they go together. Okay. So yes, Scott's just saying that the reading I did a reading circle, I think. Anyway, the reading I did for his friend Stevie was great. I'm really glad. I'm glad, and I hope it's still paying itself forward. Like, I hope that it's still, the information I gave him is still useful, because sometimes it takes a long time to unfold. Okay. Good luck, Scott, with your search for love in your podcast. That's so great. Kimberly's watching. AJ Cross is watching. Great. Crystal says, thank you. Okay, so Chantel, I have so many interests. What's the best for me to focus on right now? It comes back to the same thing that I just said for Crystal, I think. If it feels good, follow it. And I'm actually also doing quite well here in this quarantine period. That doesn't mean I don't miss hugs and my friends, but there is something really nourishing going on, and sometimes for some people very frustrating, about being confined to barracks, as I call it, in our own company. But there's some magical stuff, some really necessary stuff going on here that we needed a pause to go through, and that's what's happening right now. So Chantal, if it feels good, do it. If you feel like, playing with tarot cards for the afternoon, and I seem to recall that you had a bunch of them, then do that. If you feel like, reading a script, or if you feel like, whatever it is that you feel like doing, even writing one, and there may be something in here. Those little throwaway remarks are really often quite useful. If you feel like writing, try some writing. You may find that that you've got a natural affinity for it. It may be niche writing, like what Scott's doing, but it may be auditory. Like, there may not be a visual component to it, but play with it. You're at home, so you've got this time, and you've got equipment. Like, I'm doing this with my iPad. Play with it and see what kind of response you get. But the creative urges are there. So yes, you have lots of interests. Follow the one, and some of them are going to combine. They're going like this. They want me to tell you to take two of them at least, and put them together. That's going to create some fireworks that you will quite like. Okay. No, you're not doing too much, Chantel. Trust that you're doing exactly the right things. Imagine that if you what would you take from each one of those pots to put together in a new pot? That's why there's so many things. because you're multidimensional and you need to bring things in from all the different experiences you've had and all the different skills you've created and all the different groups you're a part of. Start putting them together. And I think that you'll find that this is really rewarding. AJ saying, agree on the quarantine being a pause to be still. Yes, a chance to think and reflect. Absolutely. And even past the point of when we think we don't have anything to think about or reflect on anymore. It's when we push that pause just a little bit longer. I used to know this when I was working as a counselor, that you ask a question and you leave a pause for the client to put the answer into, and you just wait. And when they give you an answer, you wait some more. Because it isn't always the first answer that comes. That's the opening the door a little bit for the answer that's even deeper than that. So I think that you'll find all of us, I'm finding, and I definitely the people I've been talking to lately are finding that they need this. But we are constituents in the global community, and the global community can't move until the constituents are ready. So everything that we do on a personal level is holographic, and it contributes to the whole, which means that the planet can move better through this huge transition that is going to be so good for all of us. And if we end this quarantine too soon, we won't have changed yet. And we need to change this. We have an intention to change this. So we will hold through all of this. So nice for your observation, AJ. Great. Just to complete today, I'm back again next week. This is my thing now. We'll have episode 9 next week. If you know anybody, if you're in the community, if you're here today, you're probably in my community. If you're in the community, you can invite other people to join automatically, because we assume that like attracts like. So we're now at 150 people in this community, which is like it grew overnight. So feel free to do that. I post reminders on Instagram, but I don't do everything over on there because it just seemed a little bit more complicated than my brain could handle. This seems more intuitive. I'll continue for the time being to use Facebook Live, and I'll put the reminders out through this group and also on Instagram and also on my Facebook page. So just so that you know that. And we'll be back at 1:30 again next week. So in the meantime, a reminder that my ping, I'm looking down here because I've got notes. My Ping mini readings are $30 for 15 minutes, and you can book those through my booking page. My website is back up. I've changed hosts, and I had fabulous help from a young person who has helped me to move everything across, and my email address is working again, and it's like fantastic. So this is great. So now you can book through me again. I'm still trying to set up for an online power circle, which used to be called my intuition incubator. And that is skill building, and it takes place a little bit of time every month over 12 months. And that's with 8 months of actually doing half day workshop once a month. So if you'd like to know more about that, please get in touch with me. I'm trying to find the right group who can come together at the right time. So far I've had people who are really interested but can't start until the fall. I'd rather not wait until the fall. I'd love to be able to start it this summer. So if anybody knows about that, would like to come, would like to have more information, I'm happy to talk to you about it, even if you can't start yet, because I have a waiting list. And we may end up starting one in the fall anyway. But I'm looking at doing this online because it gives us less travel time, and the technology is there to support us now, and it wasn't when I first started doing this. So that's fantastic. Essential Conversations continues. We had to do a recorded one this week because of all the websites being down, and we were really working hard at getting our websites back up again, Rebecca and I, because it affected both of us, and it affected the Essential Conversations one. So we'll be back next week with another original broadcast. That's Fridays from 5 until 6. You can stream it live on cgsf.ca, or you can listen to it live at 90.1 FM. And they're broadcasting all kinds of interesting things all week, and all of us are all pulling together as a community and continuing our broadcasts from home. So We love knowing that you're out there, and any feedback you have from us, that it just warms our hearts. So that's wonderful as well. So you can find me at powersorcerer.com. That's spelled SOURCERER. Powersorcerer.com. All my information is on there. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. I'm on MeWe now, so if you're on MeWe and you're looking there for some connections, you can find me there. I'm on LinkedIn. So I'm across a bunch of different platforms, and you can reach me through all of them. So hi Henrietta, we're just finishing up here, but feel free. I within about 5 or 10 minutes I'll have the recording up, and you can listen to the recording. But it's lovely to see you poke your head in. So thank you, all of you, for joining me today. I hope to see you again next week. Bring your friends, and go and listen to Scott's podcast. Scott, if you'd like to stick your how people can find it in either in here, or if you want to just put it in the group, that would be wonderful. And maybe there's some of your niche followers will be in the group here. So stay safe, everybody, and until next time, stay out there on the edge, because it's a really interesting place to be.